Welcome to one of my favorite parts of Recharging with Champions, and that is where we spin the wheel to find out what are our topics going to be for this week. I'm giving you ideas for your social media, but to make it more fun and because content can be boring and monotonous, we have our wheel. So check out our wheel. Just remember that when this wheel spins, there's all kinds of topics here, but the colors tell me how I have to deliver the information today. Remember that yellow means I have to tell a story. Green is, it has to be relevant to something I'm reading or learning at this moment, like real time. The blue means I have to explain it like it is a 10-year-old. No using complex language. I have to get really basic so that you guys can then get really basic on your social media. And then, of course, the red is the spicy. That's my favorite because I don't have to edit it, but also it can get a little rough because I have to go completely live. No practice. I just have to jump right into the topic. No editing, no cutting, and hopefully I give some good information without making a total fool of myself. I might make a total fool of myself. It's okay. It's all right. It's how we roll. All right, so let's jump right in and do our spin for today. All right, let's see what she has to say. Let's see. All right, we have yellow is a story. A mistake buyers make that does not feel like a big deal. Ha, so many of these. Okay, this is a funny story, so I'm going to go with this. Buyers oftentimes don't understand that the money that goes into their bank account does have to be sourced, and it is very much a big deal. It is a big deal because we have to make sure that they're coming from legal sources. I actually had a client, this was years ago, a long time ago, but it's such a funny story. It will always stick in my head. But I had a client and he had a couple of $600, $700 deposits going into his bank account that looked like cash. And cash is a big no-no when it comes to the mortgage world because we can't source that money. So I call him up. I'm like, hey, tell me what's going on with these lovely deposits in your bank account? Because I don't really want to tell you what those are from. So now I'm like super curious. Like, what do you mean you don't want to tell me what is the deposit for in these bank accounts? He finally opened up and said that he liked to gamble on cockfighting of all things, which is an atrocious thing in my opinion. I can't stand it, but it was like so caught me off guard. But first of all, in the state that we were in, that was completely illegal. So that is the exact reason we source funds, is because all funds must come from legal sources. So lo and behold, those cockfighting deposits totally meant that we couldn't use any of that money for his loan program. We couldn't use it for his down payment. We couldn't use it for the closing costs. And it seemed like such a small thing. It was actually like 30 days ago, but in his loan program, I needed 2 months worth of bank statements, and there was probably $2,000 worth of deposits that came from an illegal source. You might not think that this is a small thing. Putting cash into your account that came from weird places seems small, especially if it's not a huge amount. When it comes down to the bottom line, we do have to source most of those deposits. So my always the main point of this story is before you go and deposit money into your bank, talk to your trusted mortgage advisor and let's make sure that we can source that money. It might be that we can't use it and it could cause more problems, so just go spend your green cash somewhere else. But I've had multiple times where I've had people have very interesting deposits. That was probably the most interesting cash deposit, but that they couldn't source. So it is a big deal when you're putting money into your bank account. You can't just go grab it from somebody and throw it in there. I've got to show where it came from. So that's something that's a big deal that most buyers don't think is a big deal. All right, that was your story for this episode. Hey, remember that in the description below, if you want to make some content based off of this, there's a couple of different content ideas that you could grab from this story, from the idea that people need to be careful with their deposits if they're looking to buy a house, and illegal funds are illegal funds. That's literally what we're looking for. You've got all kinds of content. There is an AI prompt for you in the description. Put that into your own AI and tell it to put it in your own voice. If you haven't already done that training, go check out last week's episode where we talked about training your AI and its voice. And let's make some content on your social media using this story. I give you permission. You may absolutely use my story. Go make content. Go stand out. Be relevant. We'll see you next time.